What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB. Once again, mic check, mic check.
Test.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going on, people? We in the building. Whoopty whoop. My doggy Reggie Lake said, the YB punch curse strikes again. Listen, man, it's kind of diabolical. I mean, on multiple fronts there. we had obviously Benavidez. Listen. I bet on Benavidez that he was in my acca. Then again, I did do some moody plays. A few rounds in, I thought, I see something. Michelle was blowing smoke up my ass. To be fair, I'm holding her accountable for this one. And there was shades there. I saw shades of, I'm not sure what you'd call it. I don't know what Yarde's on. He can't box. Yarde can't box. I'm going to come out and say it right now. He thinks he's Muhammad. I am slick and skillful Floyd Mayweather, but he actually can't. He goes back in a... Listen, I don't mind people going back in a straight line if they're hunched over like this, man. He goes back in a straight line with his chops in the air. He's got no parry game. And I've heard anecdotally, Yarde don't spar. And that's how it looks to me. It looks to me like he don't spar. That's why he has life and deaths with Lyndon Arthur. He doesn't really ever look comfortable in there, like he's cruising. Right? The only time I've seen Anthony Yarde in there with a decent operator and look comfortable was when. Yeah? The rest of the time, he looks to me like he's blagging it. He don't really look calm. The one time I saw him look like he was on his job was Lyndon Arthur too. And I've been saying this for years. Yarde is Tunde delusional. Yeah? Yarde's got no shoulder roll. He goes back in a straight line. His chin's in the air. He's got no parry game with his backhand. So Benavidez just pops him. Listen, there's no doubt you can't parry every jab. But he gets caught. On the ropes he gets caught. It's not like with Floyd. Floyd, he'd still get caught too. But you'd have to do a lot to catch him. And even then, a lot of it wasn't clean. Yarde goes back in a straight line. Gets popped with a jab. And then he's on the ropes and it looks messy and he's having a life and death. Every time he got on them ropes, he was having a life and death. Bottom line. He was no good on the ropes. Now you can say, well, YB, it's easy to say that. You know, Benavidez is applying pressure. Did you watch Benavidez though? Yarde would just walk back to the ropes. Me and Michelle were laughing, saying, what's he doing? Right? Benavidez wasn't even throwing a jab. Benavidez wouldn't even have his hands around his head. Benavidez would be relaxed like this and just start walking on. And Yarde would be like fainting, going backwards. Like, what are you doing, bro? Hold your feet. Because you were getting... It's not like Yarde was going back and... I don't know. Let's say, think about Shakur Stevenson when he fought that Mexican dude the other month. Stevenson can kind of fight off the ropes. He can make it work for him. He can go back to the ropes, pot shot you, and then roll off and pivot out. Yarde goes back in a straight line, gets popped with any jab Benavidez throws, and then he's on the ropes. There's no... Look at Bivol versus Beterbiev. I don't know how hard it is to understand, for Yarde at very least. Yarde, you cannot fight off the ropes. You're not Floyd Mayweather. Get it in your head, man. I don't know what smoke is blowing up your ass. You're not Floyd Mayweather. You can't do a bean off the ropes. And even someone like Bivol with a much higher IQ, he understands that. Fighting off the ropes is never really advisable, particularly when you've got a pressure fighter like that. Now, a certain man, Floyd, I think he lost that fight, but Floyd did it against De La Hoya. Shakur did it against that other guy the other day, who was a Mexican star coming forward. Certain people can do okay work off the ropes, but 9 times out of 10, even Devin Haney, right? He's got a better rope defense than Yarde does. Even he don't like to sit on the ropes and go there by choice. Devin Haney, Bivol, when they're fighting pressure fighters, they'll get their back to the rope. Maybe they'll do one little punch, and then they're skeeting off left or right. Yarde goes straight back in a straight line and just sits there thinking he's going to do something. He did nothing. And to be quite frank, what got me gassed, and I did see something. I see something. I did see something. In the first two, I thought Yarde won them first 2 rounds. Most of them first 2 rounds were spent Yarde was in the centre of the ring, it almost looked like a bit of a sparring session. He wasn't landing massive shots, but he had a level of composure and control in the centre of the ring. Benavidez looked a bit one-dimensional at points. Obviously, the argument is, well, Benavidez wasn't in a rush. He knew he'd get to Yarde. But when the fight was in the centre of the ring, for me, Yarde was getting the better of it. When Yarde was just touching him and slapping around, Benavidez looked like he didn't have many ideas. Now, that could be strategy. He could not have been bothered. The shots probably weren't bothered. They weren't even big shots. He was just toying with him. But that was where Yarde had success. His plan should have been touch, whap, and pivot off. There was no pivoting in the centre of the ring at all. Right? The minute Benavidez put any level of pressure, he wasn't even throwing his hands half the time. Benavidez wasn't jabbing. He'd just come like this, walking onto him, and Yarde would be panicking like he's never had. Honestly, I've heard Yarde don't spar, and that's how he looks like he fights to me. And it would also explain why he gets knackered after 6 rounds. I remember Tunde, again, I don't know how true this is now. I remember Tunde saying, yeah, we don't spar because we don't want to take head damage. Well, I believe if you don't spar, you take more head damage. Look at this guy getting punched up everywhere. Having life and deaths with Lyndon Arthur. Life and deaths with Ralph Wilkins. You have to spar. You have to... Now, I could be wrong. I'd like to think I'm wrong. But I know for a fact at one point in time, Tunde and Yarde were talking about, yeah, we don't spar. When they were knocking bums out. We don't need to. And that's how it looks to me. He looks like he's not really... He looks way too nervy in there, not composed. He should have had, like I've been saying for years, his hands wrapped on his head. Because, listen, he was getting punched up anyway. Right? He was getting punched up anyway. It's not like he was making it work for him on the back foot. He spent a bunch of energy running back to the ropes and then getting weighed in. Right? He got weighed in on the ropes every time he went there. He spent a bunch of energy doing that. If it was me, I'd rather spend my energy. Me and you can't punch. We're going to stand toe to toe. Let's have a fight then. Because you might as well get hit having a fight, in my opinion, if you can't box like that. Now, if you can pull off the Bivol or Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney, then do that. But you can't. Yarde's got no clinch game at all. Right? Not that I like the clinch, but if we're talking about winning a moody fight based on the current rules paradigm, where the clinch at? You got a pressure fighter coming at you. You're trying to make out you're a boxer. Where the clinch? That's pivotal. Shakur likes to clinch. I'm not sure Floyd did so much, but you get the point. That is part of... Devin Haney damn sure loves to clinch. That's an important aspect. If you're not going to use your feet as well, if you're going to go back in a straight line, that clinch game needs to be down pat. Again, it looks to me like Yarde don't even spar. He got no idea. He looks like AJ in there trying to clinch. Really, really poor clincher. And for someone just going straight back to the ropes, he needed to dip at the waist and grab, like Haney does. Okay, he's got me on the ropes now. I don't want to be here. I don't know how to use my feet, so I'm going to dip at the waist and come low and grab his hips. Or even a Zach Parker. That's what he needed, something if he's going to be there. Not that I want to see that, but some sort of strategy. Going back in a straight line with a leaky-deaky move. Yarde has the moodiest. I thought Devin Haney's shoulder roll was moody. Anthony Yarde has the moodiest shoulder roll I've ever seen. He barely catches any shots with it. They come right up, bong, bong. He's like this. He'll be parrying. The jab's coming this here, yeah. He'll be parrying like that, and it will go straight. I'm thinking, he looks like he ain't done no sparring. When you spar, yeah, and that's when you pick up the eye-to-hand coordination. Yarde, it just goes straight at him. And it is, listen, having a loose guard, that is high level, right? That is high level, bottom line. But if you can't do that, which you can't, yeah, guess what you do? Real simple. And most fighters can't do the moody shoulder roll. That's why most people don't do it. Yarde, he wasn't doing that against Lyndon Arthur too. The first fight, what was Yarde doing? The moody shoulder roll, the moody, lazy, leaky, lazy, low hand thing, and he went life and death in both in number 1 and 3 with Lyndon. The one fight he comes with his hand stuck on his head, he did Lyndon serious arm in 4 or 5 rounds. That is Anthony Yarde's edge. He had no edge. He can't box. I really do believe that, seriously. Going back in straight lines, no pivot game, no matador game. That is part of boxing. If you're going to be that guy, I didn't see Yarde pivot off the ropes once. You know how you'll see Devin Haney get to the ropes? Or Bivol get to the ropes when he's fighting Beterbiev and he's skipping left and right and then shooting out. Right? I didn't see Yarde do that once. Every time he went back to the ropes, He'd just sit right there. He didn't even think about using his feet. But he'd be happy to use his feet. It's almost paradoxical. Yarde would be happy to use his feet to kind of pigeon step backwards. What's the point in doing that, bro? If you know you're going to be stuck on the ropes, you might as well dig in right there and then and fight him. I'd rather get knocked out in the middle of the ring having a fight myself. I don't want no one chasing me. I don't know about you, man, but in my little experience in boxing, particularly when you're not winning at boxing, right? But in my little experience, the scariest place to be in a ring is when you're trying to outbox someone, but you're getting punched up. And hence, if you're trying to do the moody boxing, I'm stepping back, and that's not working, and every time he gets you to the ropes, you get him weighed in, a level of IQ, in my opinion, would have been, alright, this ain't working. Yeah, I'm going back, I'm getting hit, I might as well fight this clown right here, right now, and I'll die on this spot where I stand, in the middle of the... That's what I'd rather do, man. I'm not going back. I'm not having... Because the minute you start, I don't care what no one says. Again, some skillful fighters can get away with it. But the minute you're panicking, and I think Yarde doesn't... He doesn't look comfortable. He never really looked comfortable going back. He looked comfortable in the middle of the ring when he was doing a bit of touching. Even then, though, the pivot game wasn't there. He'd do a bit of touching and then step backwards, rather than touch, pivot off. Right? He'd just go touch, back step, straight line. Touch, back, and before you know it, Benavidez is there. Touch, spin, touch, turn. That's what it has to be if you're a boxer. It can never be touch, back in a straight line. It's my ass now. Yeah, Benavidez all over me. Yarde don't have that composure. He looks like that is how it gets you. Again, he looks to me like he's never sparred a day in his life, Yarde. He looks like honestly, the nervousness in his feet, given he's heavy-handed, and he looked like the much bigger man as well. His back looks, I don't know how, he looks like a cruiserweight to me. He looks like a big cruiserweight. I don't know. I saw them both. Benavidez is supposed to be a big guy. I thought Yarde looked massive in there, to tell the truth. I thought Anthony Yarde looked absolutely huge in there, man. Did you see his back? Benavidez looked 2D. Benavidez had these little short shoulders. Not that it made a difference, but I'm thinking, again, I've been saying it for years. If you're this big, thick, light-skinned Donny, pause, let them hold that. And listen, Yarde, obviously, most likely would have lost anyway. He wouldn't have lost no worse, though, in my opinion, right? If Yarde had stood there in the middle of the ring, at least he could say he had to go. At least he could say maybe he was in the fight. What's he got to show for it now? He ran backwards, ran out of gas, another issue, which tells me I don't think he's sparring, man. From what the things I'm saying, I don't think Yarde spars, honestly. That's how it looks to me. He's goosed every time after 5 rounds. And that'll do that. You get some delusional boxing trainers who will tell you, oh yeah, no, we don't need to spar. You can get fit doing other things. Guess where else we heard this recently for a fact? Dave Allen. Dave Allen said, yeah, I've got a 12-round fight, but I only need to spar 4 rounds. Impossible. I don't care how much bag or pads you hit. There's nothing like it. You can't replicate 12-round boxing fitness from pads and whatever you want. Not running, not skipping, not nothing. Those are auxiliary components to overall fitness. Listen, let me tell you something now. If I had to pick one thing to do for a 12-round fight, it wouldn't. If you said, YB, you can only train one thing. Yeah, pick one element. So weights, running, skipping, pads, the bag, or sparring. I would pick sparring 10 times out of 10 and have no doubt. Because you can work on everything else, right? In a spar, if you want to make sure your feet are light, you can do rounds where you're in there hopping around like a jippo. Yeah? You can do all the elements of the rest of the training. You can do 12 rounds just running and practicing on touch and moving off. You can condition all them parts of it in a spar. You can't do it. Sorry, Dave. I don't care how much experience you got. You can't be fit for a 12-round fight sparring 4 rounds with an amateur cruiserweight or something like that. You can't do it, man. You can't. And it shows. That's why you're puffed. That's why Yarde's puffed after 6 rounds. He was finished after 3 or 4, to be fair. Just starts wilting. Because all he's done is moody pads. And it makes sense. Because when was the last time you saw any sparring leaked of Anthony Yarde? Ever. When you seen that one there? I've seen footage of Benavidez sparring, Anthony Durrell. We've never seen any footage of Anthony Yarde ever sparring, ever. And I can't think of what fighter is like that. For example, AJ, we've seen spars of him. Itama, we've seen spar. I've never seen no sparring footage of Yarde. I could be wrong though, right? But he's one of the few fighters I've never... Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson. I've seen footage of everyone, but not Yarde. That's weird in 10 years. And they was at one point celebrating that. Yeah, we're too smart for the game. Yeah, we're too smart for the game. We've worked out that we can be better. You got no gas, man. And you look like you've seen a ghost. Yeah? Having Tunde do the moody pads and swing the pad over your head. I never got that as well. I never got why trainers do that. They go touch, touch, and then throw their hand over your head. If I'm training someone with pads, I'm going touch, touch, and boshing you right in your mouth. Because that's where the shots are going to come. Yeah? And if we're doing the hook drill, you're going to go touch, touch, and I'm going to twat you right on the side of your head. That's what I'm doing. I'm not going over your head. What's that training you for? I'm going to pretend I'm actually fighting you. Right? So pad combination, I'm twatting you right there. And if you don't get it, your head's going to be sore the next morning, and you best start to learn. Every trainer does it. They all do it. Touch, touch. Big circles round their head. What's that doing? No one's throwing a punch like that. Or touch, touch, and then they throw their right hand over there. The shots are going to be flying right in your face. To do things you're actually... I can't... This game's a bit weird, a bit low IQ to be fair. And they all do it as well. I can't think of one trainer who actually... I've never seen one trainer actually throw a pad at their student, at their fighter. Not one. They all do the moody, over the sun. Right hand over there. Yeah? And that's how Yarde looks to me. His reactions seem off. His reaction like a pad session reaction. Everything don't line up for me. None of it lines up. His gas don't line up. Because he wasn't doing a lot. It wasn't like it was a ferocious pace. How is he knackered after 3 or 4 rounds? Do you, man, get that? How is a prime athlete exhausted after 3 rounds and not a lot was going on? Yarde was wilting after 3 rounds. What is that about? Yeah? What is that about, man? He didn't even... No change in the game plan, either. There's no IQ there. There's no... Yeah, wait there a minute. I'm not... Did you watch the fight, people? Did you ever see Yarde do well off the ropes, really? I mean, he might have landed a few pot shots. Maybe a few here and there, but there was no massive success there. Why are you... I don't think Yarde knows what to do. And again, I'm not saying I would know what to do, but I told you already what I'll be doing. I don't claim to know how to touch, and my legs are stiff as a board, so I could never do that. And Yarde's exactly like mine. He can't. His feet. He thinks because he can hop around a little bit, his feet are slick. His feet aren't really slick. Slick would be, I'm off the ropes. Yeah, that would be slick. Going back in a straight line and looking like you're in trouble every time you go to the ropes ain't slick. He burns so much energy. He's quick, no doubt. Yarde's very quick and explosive. But the quickness and explosiveness needs to be applied on the front foot for Yarde. He didn't win a minute of a round going backwards. The few 30-second spurts he won were fought in the centre of the ring. And even then, though, it was playful. He wasn't actually giving Benavidez anything to think about. And then the weird thing was, Yarde would get pushed back to the ropes, right? And then all of a sudden he'd try to lean in and counter. I'm thinking, well, if you're going to lean in, you don't want to lean in off the ropes. You might as well lean in. You know where Benavidez is going to be. Right in front of you. So Yarde was the one, don't forget, Yarde was the one saying, Yarde said, yeah, I'm more powerful than him. Well, you'd never be able to show him that fighting off the ropes, bro. Sorry. What was the last guy you know who claimed to be more powerful and spent the fight fighting off the ropes? Which one? Did Golovkin do that? What fight was that then? What fight did you see Golovkin fighting off the ropes? Which one? You didn't see that. What was the last fight you saw Beterbiev fighting off the ropes? You didn't see that. Yeah? So Yarde talks a lot of rubbish in there. And it doesn't mean he'd have got stopped anyway. Because he'd run out of gas still because he ain't sparring. But still, he might as well have got... Did you see it? It looked really bad in there for him. Yarde's not a punk. Yeah? He took his licks. But if you're going to take licks, you might as well take them. You see what I mean? Right where you are. I'm in the middle of the ring, we can fight right now. If I'm getting hit anyway. Yarde was almost... It's getting picked half to death, man. I don't know, he can't box, seriously. Yarde can't box. And in fact, that moves me on to this one here. Let's listen to Yarde's post-fight interview. It's just full of delusion. And I never really used to say this, but Tunde needs to go. Honestly, it's too late now. He's 34. And he'll never get it. All the thoughts of Floyd Mayweather and whatnot have gone to his head. And Yarde really believes it. He really believes he's really tricky. And he's just not. Who is he tricky against? Who? No one. Yeah, you what? But listen, Yarde, let me tell you something now. Yeah, if Yarde was able to box like that, I think Yarde would have been a prolific. It's a bit like AJ, really. There's parallels there. AJ was prolific at getting on top of someone and letting his hands go. Yarde's never even committed to that, though, unless he's fighting a proper weapon. But in his recent years, he's been determined to try and prove a point. Yeah? Listen, Tunde. Listen, Anthony. Just because you spent a month in Floyd Mayweather's gym, that's what they say. Tunde says that. He says, yeah, I was in Mayweather's gym for 4 months, so I'm the authority on Mayweather. You can't fight like Mayweather, man. And I wouldn't even bother trying, to be quite frank. Yeah, that worked for Mayweather. Who else has it worked for? A bit of James Toney here and there. Okay, 2 people you got. Yeah, 2 people you got. And you've been trying it for 10 years and you're no good at all. Yarde can't shoulder roll whatsoever. He's got no shoulder roll whatsoever. He gets hit with every shot. Every shot Benavidez threw, he got hit right on his head. And you see his dreads. I predicted this. I did tell you, man. I said, watch out. And if you watch the DAZN just after the fight, you'll see Tunde. Let me see if I've got the picture here. You can't really see it here, but if you watch the DAZN stream back, you'll see Tunde. He's like on the floor looking on the canvas, trying to find the rest of Anthony Yarde's dreadlocks, man. Seriously, his dreads got punched off. And I did tell you that. I said his dreads were coming off. He knocked his dreads off, man. They knocked his corny light-skinned dreads right off, man. Yarde, you can't box. Seriously, bro. For the last part of your career, you need to chase. And the thing is, the argument against it is, oh, well, YB, you know, you always say storm the beach in Normandy. Not always. I would never advise Devin Haney to storm the beach in Normandy. I did like it this performance, though. A bit of both, as such. That Ramirez fight sucked. But Devin Haney should never try and be a flap track. There's certain phenotypes. Someone like AJ, Golovkin, Anthony Yarde. You can just see it. Canelo. You can see they're not going to be that way inclined. Yeah? Mr. Yarde, listen, Anthony, like I said, just because you spent 4 months in Mayweather's gym, yeah? If you could really box like that, you'd have made a clown out of Lyndon Arthur in that first fight. You'd have made a clown out of Lyndon Arthur. If you was really like a Shakur Stevenson level outboxer, Shakur Stevenson might stop Lyndon Arthur, if that makes sense. Because Lyndon Arthur's like a lesser version of Dremel Herring or something like that. So that's what would happen. If Yarde really could box at that level, he'd be stopping people at boxing, just picking them half to death, right? Does that make sense? Yarde would have picked and prodded, a bit like Bam Rodriguez does. If you could really box like that, Lyndon Arthur would have got stopped, or you'd have butchered him. Even look at Bivol. Bivol's not as a dynamic boxer as someone like a Shakur or Floyd, but still, he picked and prodded and dropped Lyndon Arthur to the body, and Bivol never stopped no one. Right. He would have... Trust me, he'd have picked and prodded Lyndon Arthur after death. That's what you'd have done. Instead, you had 2 life and deaths with him. And you lost the first one. You couldn't outbox British level. I like Lyndon. He's a solid guy. But you get the point. You couldn't outbox him. Do you see what I mean? Your edge is not in having a... You can't box like that, bro. You're British level at best at boxing. At outboxing as such. Your edge is overwhelming force, tight guard, and trying to work on your cardio and walking someone down. Golovkin. We should be seeing shades of trying to imitate Golovkin here. Golovkin would have a little bit of moody head movement, a little bit of a moody pullback. That's all you need, man. And I'm getting on your ass, and you're gonna feel this pause. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna be holding this, man. That's your ass when you're in there with me. And listen, Yarde no doubt would have lost to some people. He would have lost to Beterbiev anyway. He'd lost to Benavidez most likely anyway. But at least he'd have been in the fight. You just never know what happens when you start giving the bullies their own pressure, right? But you don't. You go in there and you look like Yarde fights like a wounded animal. He does. Even he reminded me of Chris Eubank the other weekend. He comes out just ready to piddle around. He comes out ready to faff around. He didn't really want to do no serious harm. He didn't. He's probably psychologically finished as well. I mean, he got stopped in round 11 with Kovalev, 8 with Beterbiev, and now what is it, 6 or 7? So it's getting worse and worse for him, which is expected when you're not sparring and you're 35 years old now as a reflective, twitchy foot. He's got the speed, man. Imagine Yarde applying that speed of hand in the pocket, leaning into someone. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't guarantee you to win every fight, but it's better than this. It's really poor, honestly. Caleb Plant went the distance, man. Little Caleb Plant went the distance. You got filled in, really. The fight could have been stopped in round 5, to tell the truth. You got filled in 5 round record time. Benavidez don't fill no one in 5 rounds. That's how bad you are at boxing. He couldn't fill Plant in, who just got his back blown out by Carrot Top. He couldn't fill the 10-0 amateur Cuban dude. Couldn't fill him in. Couldn't fill 45-year-old Vosdik in. But he's had a go on you. And Yarde really was finished after 3 rounds. Yeah. But you were finished after 3 rounds. And I think Yarde's one of the bigger light heavyweights. He looks massive in there, man. He's one of the bigger light heavyweights. So you got one of the bigger light heavyweights. I thought 10 years ago he was big at light heavyweight. I thought it was a scam. Right? So you got one of the bigger light heavyweights and you're out of there in 4 or 5 rounds, bro. It's like, come on, man. That's not your edge. And your face was butchered as well. People, let me tell you something now. If you can box to a certain level, your face isn't all mush in 4 rounds. Who's Benavidez done that to? Right. Now, maybe after 11-12 you're mushed by Benavidez. But if your face is getting mushy after 3 or 4 rounds, that shows me you ain't got the defense like that. Right? Hence, you should just be hands stuck on your head and I'm leaning into him and we can have a scrap here. And you probably still get bust up. But you got bust up at least bringing your weapons that you actually have to a fight. Because what you got here, this moody shoulder roll and getting hit with everything, trying to parry down here, wasn't working, bro. It was not. And your face showed it. Because your face was going puffy after 2. How can you? I've never seen that before. Whose face have you seen? And talking about the high guard, even defensively though, look at Bivol. Bivol wasn't. He does at points, but when you look at Benavidez versus Beterbiev versus Bivol, what do we know about Bivol? Bivol, he would at points lean in, not often. He'd do his work and sometimes lean in and try and get respect from Beterbiev. But for the most part, what would Bivol do? Bivol would move his feet and stick his hands right on his head. Yeah? Defensive integrity. I'm moving my feet, but my hands are stuck here. And that made it hard work for Beterbiev to cut through. Yarde pulls back, straight line, hands by ear, trying to think he's spending all of his energy trying to do these moody twitches when he could have just had his hands right here. That's what he could have done. Right? That is what he could have done. We saw Sam Noakes, who in my opinion is less talented than Yarde as such, and stuck on his head. And he made it a close fight with a very twitchy and talented, more talented Abdullah Mason. He made it a good fight because he had defensive integrity. And he was poised enough to punch from stability. You didn't see Sam Noakes panicking and you know what I'm saying? He don't have that. Yarde can't box. Sorry. He doesn't know what he's doing. And Tunde don't know what... I'm going to be honest. Yeah, they both ain't got a clue. Oh, I've made money. Well, that's all you've done, though. You can't box, bro. You're 45-year-old and you still can't box for toffee. Seriously. I'm not even just saying that. I've never... You made people think Benavidez can punch now. Because your defense is so leaky and he mushed your face up and he knocked your dreads halfway into the crowd in record time. Let's call a spade here. I watched round 4 back. Anthony Yarde lost 2 dreads in round 4. Watch it back. I think it's around the 1 minute 30 minute section of the round. Benavidez clops him and you see the dreads just go fly off. Yeah? Benavidez has never knocked no one's dreads clean off halfway through round 4 before who? Let's have a look. Because, you know, you the first one. Honestly, Benavidez can't... I'll say it to this day. I think Benavidez is overrated, to be fair. He's alright. I want to see the Beterbiev fight. Then we'll find out who really doing what. Beterbiev's old, but I wouldn't mind seeing that. That'll be interesting. Who has he done in 7 rounds before? Poo Andrade, another idiot. Right, Andrade's like Yarde. He can't box. He thinks he can box. He fights a bunch of bums and thinks he can box. Exactly. But Andrade, useless. Seriously, proper useless. Andrade is. He thinks he's all slick and that as well. He got weighed in. Although his defense is even more. He's a bit more integral than Yarde's is. Who we got here? Yeah, no one. Look at this nobody. Tyrone Davis got done in 7. Very rare Yarde does someone in 7. Anthony Durrell lasted 9 and he was 40 years old. This random cat, Ronald Ellis, lasted 11. Roma Angulo lasted 10. It's very rare for Benavidez to do anyone in 7 rounds. Yeah, very rare. It's not the norm. Mostly unlikely, which is nuts. What was I also going to tell you, man? Let me check the comments right quick for the masses. Let's have a quick check. Well, oh, that was it. Yeah, let's talk about the rounds. This is how I scored the rounds. I thought Yarde won the first 2. He looked playful. He looked somewhat in control. Then he started just running for the hills and skipping backwards, and then Benavidez started getting on top. I think. Listen, Tunde, he probably should have stopped the fight. His man wasn't prepared. Tunde's delusional. Tunde in there again saying, "Oh, lions in the camp." Yeah, like no. Yarde was. I knew it was over when Yarde said, "How many rounds is it?" And I think he was open to hear 11 or 12. He heard 6, and then you see and Tunde says, "Oh, you got." Yeah, it's round 6, and you just see Anthony Yarde's head go down. He knows it's not making it, man. It's a lot of weight. I'm upset for him though. It's a waste of talent because he did have not now. I don't think there's much he could do now. That said, if he's going to carry on, he might as well. I wouldn't mind. 34 is not 44. I don't know. Maybe Abel Sanchez, even Tony Sims. To be fair, Tony Sims, Abel Sanchez. Let's give that a go. I wouldn't mind. But Conor Benn actually is probably similar to Yarde, if that makes sense. Their skill sets. I know people are saying Conor Benn's no good. What I saw in that Eubank 2 fight, I think he's got some in there. But what do I know? Nothing. But I can't say it was a rubbish performance. He looked composed. Eubank couldn't hit nothing. Ben's feet were very good. So my point is, Conor Benn's twitchiness is similar to Yarde's. Conor Benn though does have a better defensive integrity. He's got his hands up, or when he's got his hands down, his head's going. Yeah, I don't know what. Yarde is trying to be Mayweather. That's how it looks to me. It's like he's watched a few. Remember when I was younger, you'd watch a few videos of Mayweather and then try and imitate it. Yarde's still doing that at 34. He hasn't really made his own identity, which is odd. Why are you so stuck on following some other idiot for? Be yourself. And the one only good performance you can talk about with Yarde again is Linden 2. That's it, man. Yeah? So Tunde, Yarde's got... People talk about I'm staying with Tunde forever. It's not going to make a difference now. He'll never win a world title. Forget about that, but... You might as well have a punt, honestly. You might as well have a little bit of a punt and see what's up, in my opinion. Somewhere else, you never know. AKA, you just put your hands up and walk into someone, man. Put your hands up. Because it sounds simple, but that's a craft too. There's crafty things you can do with a high guard. If you look at people like Virgil Ortiz, or even Conor Benn to be fair, right? You can feint high, come in low, right? You can pull back. You can slip. It's not as simple. It's not as... I mean, it's better than nothing if I had the choice. Just stand there like a heavy bag and walk into someone. You can do that too. But I'm trying to think of examples of that. Who just walks in? I think Beterbiev's a bit like that. He's not got loads of frills. Beterbiev won't faint high and then dip down and hop in. That's probably not the best example. There are some people who will just plod around though, and they'll try and whack you really hard. I'm trying to think of examples. God, Canelo now. Canelo now will do that. But for most people, you'll do alright with that. Plod around, knowing I can pop and whack someone. Pop, big right hand on the back. I wouldn't mind seeing Yarde just try that. I was hoping he was going to try that against Lindenau for free, to be fair, but he's stuck on the things he's no good at. Again, if he was good at it, you wouldn't have had life and death 115, 113, which could have been a draw against a retiree Lindenau, who you already knocked out in 4 or 5 rounds. Anyway, before we move on to the next fight, let's just get to the next bit of delusionness from Mr. Yarde. This is his post-fight interview.
Lewis Alt for the Ring magazine here with Anthony Yarde. Appreciate you giving me the time to speak.
Of course.
Fresh off of your night tonight against David Benavidez, just some sort of thoughts and feelings now.
Thoughts and feelings, it's boxing, isn't it? So it's like when you go into a fight, I knew I was the underdog, but I just thought that, I'll give him a look he's never seen before. And, you go in...
I thought I'd give him a look he's never seen before. This is what I'm saying. Yarde really thinks that he's actually conquered the Mayweather. Yeah, he's never seen a Mayweather before. What look? And there were, listen, I saw shades. I didn't see enough of it, clearly. But there were points, they were in the middle of the ring, and Yarde was playfully touching him. And I thought, yeah, do that, bro. Yeah, touch him, whap, and then pivot off in a circle, not backwards. Yeah, you've got a circle if you're going to be a boxer. I don't know any great boxer. I don't know any great outboxer who can outbox someone going back in a straight line. I can't think of one. Erisland, everyone, that's how you have to box. A bit like how, Aaron McKenna, most of you might not know this, but it was a great performance. Aaron McKenna versus Liam Smith is the one that comes to mind for me. Just touch, playing with him. Bosh, great footwork. Yarde probably don't have them feet, but still, I think Bivol got good feet, but Bivol's outboxing is pretty rudimentary. He will just skip around the sides, right? It's not like Aaron McKenna was touch and then pivoting and whacking him again. Bivol won't touch, pivot and whack you again. Usyk's a bit like a cruiserweight. He's slowed down a bit now and has more respect for their power, but Usyk would play with a dude, just spin him in circles, right? And there's degrees to which you can do that. One thing you can never do though is touch, and I'm going straight back now. You gotta be spinning them, and that's what someone like Benavidez, who has relatively slow feet, that's how you keep them. If you're going to be an outboxer, if you're going to show him something he ain't seen before, that's how you do it. I don't know. I don't think Tunde knows what he's doing. Yarde fights like someone who don't have a clue how to outbox someone. Seriously. That's how it looks to me. How many times did you see Yarde pivot off the rope? Or touch, or even circle once? It was literally every time. Straight back. I didn't even see Yarde attempt really to get off the ropes. Yeah? If you were an outboxer and you felt that you're getting punched up on the ropes, right, which would have been the case for Yarde, he should be doing drills. The minute your back touches that rope, I'm going to explode straight off there. No doubt about it, that's what I'm going to do. I ain't taking no risk on there. Yeah? And there must be, listen, I'm not an expert defensive coach, so I can't comment about that. But what I can tell you is, there must be plays you can implement so that you can stay out of the way and not get in trouble. Do you understand that one there? Yeah? That's what they must be able to do. We see people do it, right? I'm at the ropes, dip, roll, hug, clinch, skeet, left, right. Bring some play in there, man. That's what you got to do. But I'm giving him a different look. You'll give him the easiest work. Listen, Anthony, it was the easiest work he's ever seen. Yeah? That was the look you brought. Yeah, my name's Anthony Yarde, and I wanted to give him the easiest look he's ever seen in his life. That's what he should have said.
When the fight saying I can hit, I can box as well, and I knew today it was just whoever landed first, whoever gave him a look he's never seen before, and you go in the fight saying I can hit, I can box as well. And I knew today it was just whoever landed first. Whoever landed that good shot first.
Yarde always says that, doesn't he, though? It's always that, like, I know, I can box and I can hit. And it looks like you don't really know what you're doing, bro, to tell the truth. And can you really box? No. Oh, yeah. Every fight he says the same thing. When he fought Kovalev or Beterbiev, I knew if I hit him, it was whoever hits first. Well, not really, bro. Because you was never in a dangerous position like that, in my opinion. I can't think of one dangerous position Yarde was in to do any hitting, really. He looked playful. I thought he looked like he had a level of control in the middle of the ring, to be fair, whilst it lasted, until he started backing up. But Yarde was never dangerous in there. Yarde never looked like he was coming to do Benavidez any harm. I didn't see it. If you saw it, I'd love to see where. So what does he mean? It was me or him. What point was that? When did Yarde really let some shots off? There was points. It was more panicking though. He would get on the ropes and then try and pot shots. But it was out of panic. It was never. Yarde never led with aggression. He was either playful in the centre of the ring and winning maybe some control points there, or he was panic fighting off the ropes, which is odd, right? You got 4 or 5 rounds. Okay, he was diminished after 4 or 5, but after 4 rounds, you'd think, for someone who's trying to box and get a bit of this and a bit of that, even Devin Haney, yeah? Devin Haney at points would hold his feet and bum, 2-piece and he's out. Or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Pop, and then move. Yarde never did that. I never saw Yarde dig in 4 rounds that he was able to in the middle of the ring. I never saw him actually dig in off that part. It was always like he was just touching and playing with his food, and it was almost a waste of time. If you're going to throw them shots out and not commit to them, normally you'd go like, I don't know, easy whap, right? Keep him honest. But Yarde was just doing it. He was just like, yeah, none of them were really scoring. And it was almost like Yarde knew that Benavidez could punch, honestly. He's probably a bit shot worn. The hype of Benavidez probably got in his head. I don't know. But this cat's delusional either way.
I was dipping. I think he hit me with a good uppercut to the nose. And then, he threw his flurries, as he does. Kept coming forward. But I was fine until I took a knee. Because, again, my nose and the blood or whatever. And then it hit me when I was down. And after that, I was just a little bit dizzy. But it was a good fight, man.
So Yarde was winning 6 out of 6 rounds, and then maybe that's not true, but yeah, Yarde was winning 3 out of 6 rounds, and then he got hit when he was down. That's not what happened, bro. I'm afraid. That's definitely not what happened. I thought that shot was, but I didn't think it was that illegal what he did. To be fair, Yarde didn't actually make it clear that he'd gone down. I don't believe. Let me see if I got the footage. But when that, whoa, don't play it, please. When he goes down, it was almost like, I'm not sure what the rules are, but it looked to me as if Yarde was doubled over. It didn't look like he was actually. It looked to me like Yarde wanted to go down, but at the same time didn't want to lose a point. So if I was Benavidez, I'd have been thinking, I don't want to back off a man who I haven't perceived has actually gone down and I've gained that point. I didn't see. Let's watch it now, but I didn't see a clear. See what I mean? Wait there. That can't be it. This is the sequence. I'll play it slowly so the JTube copyright and sexualites don't get sick. Oh, it's going to take all day though, isn't it? Here we go, Yarde with the Moody. Come on, Mr. Yarde, show us the Moody, man. Even then, look, Yarde, do you know how tiring it is to move your trunk like that? So Yarde's literally, he's leaning 90 degrees now, and he's still got Bosch on the side of his head with his hands by his waist. What? Keep it. Bosch. You'll still feel the shots, but it's very rare. When was the last time you saw someone get stopped with their hands right around their head? It's quite hard to do. Yeah? Yarde's like, a shot comes in, he's like, wham! Do you know how much gas that takes? That's why head movements, most people don't do it. It gets knackering. And you can't do it because you've got no gas. And you're no good at it. Because you just slipped about 4 feet. And he still hit you, bro. And what's the point? Who are you kidding? He boshed you on the side of your head. Okay. It's going to take all day, this, isn't it? Maybe I'll take it off the screen. What I'll do, I'll take it off the screen so that they don't get me got. He's got his hands up, but he's looking at the floor. He's like one or the other with Yarde. hands up, look at the floor, or leaky deaky. Right, you gotta have your hands up and be looking. It sounds simple. Benavidez, to his credit, is very quick. Benavidez is quick, and it will feel like they're all over you. I'm not a boxing expert, but I've done a bit of sparring, and when you fight quick guys and you're doubled over, it feels like you're in a tumble dryer. That's how it feels. But this cat's been doing it 10 years, and he's getting paid millions, man. Right? I rarely remember seeing Canelo or Triple G. They'll be doubled over, but looking at the floor, it's amateur-esque. Right? When Triple G and Golovkin were thrashing it out, I never remember seeing any of them like that. It's like hunched over. It's amateur-esque. That's what amateurs do. They panic and shut their eyes and look at the floor. It's like, come on, man. It's because Tunde's doing the moody pads. That's what it is. It's the moody pads. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. He don't know. He can't box like that. I'm sorry. I like him, but he can't box. He can't box for toffee, can Yarde. This must be it here, I think. This must be it here. So you see what I mean? I don't think Yarde's down. Would you call Yarde down at this point? I wouldn't. Yarde's not down at this point, is he? I don't think he's down. Maybe there's another punch that comes. Got to make it big again. Okay, maybe it's here. Even there, I'm not confident to say. So Yarde here is not down, right? Yarde's not down. He looks to me like he's trying to do a moody shoulder roll again. Yarde's not down. Yarde's not down. Yeah, Yarde's defending himself. It don't look like a knockdown to me. See the moody shoulder roll, Bosch right on the back of his head. Yeah, Benavidez didn't hit him when he was down. Maybe it comes now though. Let's have a look. Maybe that's where it was. Okay. Maybe this is where it is. Yeah, see, it's difficult though. You know what I mean? I don't know about that far. I don't think that's illegal. Sorry. I don't think it's... Well, I guess he'd gone down at that point, hadn't he? I think his knees are on the floor. So it was... But I think it's the fact... Normally when you score a knockdown, the person concedes it. It looks to me like Yarde's still fighting off the floor. So I get how as a fighter you think you're still in a fight. You're not necessarily tracking the fact Yarde like this still on the floor. It looks like he's trying to rock and roll off the floor, man. Because Yarde's still defending himself. Is he even down now? I'm not sure. That's the problem, you see. I think Yarde's got his foot on the... You can see Yarde's knee there, right? So Yarde's maybe got one knee down. Yeah, it was a bit odd. So I give Benavidez the benefit of the doubt there, to be fair. But Benavidez got a few points, I think a point or two taken off anyway. Not that it would have made Jack Diddley a difference. But still. Alright, let's watch the rest of this corny thing.
Take nothing away from David Benavidez. He's a probably future Hall of Famer. He's been a world champion for a long time for a reason. And yeah, nothing but respect.
Was there anything he'd done that surprised you, would you say?
No. We know how he fights.
You see what I mean? These men are conceited. Tunde, Yarde, oh no, no you didn't. Bro, you didn't have a clue what you were doing in there. Yeah? If nothing surprises you, doesn't mean you win the fight. But you can tell when, for example, I'll tell you someone who nothing surprised. Devin Haney could say, nothing, even though we was all gassing up Brian Norman, he's no good. I'll talk about him in a second, but he's no good. Yeah? Big country looking ass. Plumber. Chin having ass. Big country man. I bet you don't want to rate his fit. You'll be rating Devin Haney's fit now. That's what you'll be doing. That's all you're good for. You best believe it, man. Hey, man, get that Ring Magazine cap back. Because Brian Norman needs to rate... If I was Turkey, I'd have Brian Norman sitting there and rating the fit. Because that's all you're good for, bro. You can't fight for toffee, man. Big talking, having ass. I told you he only fought bums as well. It's a shame that the Ramirez fight was so bad for Haney. Because I'd have put I told you Haney on points, man. I did say that. Yeah? But too much talking, man. Yeah, I'm old school, and you fought like a punk. Like I said in the bit, I told you, man. I said, watch out. I'd like to believe in Brian Norman, but these new age man, they talk a good game about Marvin Hagler, but they get in there and they're like, oh, they ain't like that, man. I don't care how old school and how big country they claim to be. Brian Norman got in there, didn't screw his chin on, number one, and number two, didn't really want to fight like that. He's happy to get boxed up, which was one of the ways I thought it would go. I just wasn't sure if Haney was going to turn up or proper be scared to death. You know what I mean? It's like one of them ones anyway. Anthony Yarde, man, he's delusional. Yeah, Benavidez give you everything you never seen before, but you didn't expect nothing different. Why couldn't you execute no game plan then? There must have been something different he was doing. And to be fair, I think Benavidez actually looked not pretty normal, but I think it might have been one of his worst what's the point I'm making? I think Benavidez didn't look that good as such. I really don't. I think if you'd had, it would have been interesting to see if you'd have had someone in there that could box and circle. Because the few times Yarde did it, Benavidez did look a little bit lost, man. Maybe that's just because he was building up and he knew it would come and he knew Yarde would get tired. I don't know, but I thought Yarde did show a level of control in the middle of the ring. And Benavidez was the one hunching over at points, like he was out of ideas. It was interesting to watch. So I don't know. What boxers have we got? I guess it'll be Bivol. Bivol might end up playing with him. A bit like Beterbiev too. But I think Benavidez has quicker hands than Beterbiev. Not as heavy-handed, but the speed kills. Speed does kill. And if Beterbiev couldn't catch him with one cold, Benavidez' volume, that might bring him into it, but I think Bivol's feet might be too good. And he's not going to go. Bivol ain't going to go back in a straight line. He's not going to sit on the ropes. Benavidez is going to have the same problem Beterbiev had. The difference is, can Benavidez' hand speed balance things out? Because I think Beterbiev's hands are quite relatively slow. Bivol's got quicker hands than Beterbiev, but I think Benavidez has quicker hands than Bivol. And the volume of it as well. But then again, Beterbiev's volume couldn't really break down. Beterbiev was pushing it. And the shades I saw in here tonight from Yarde and Benavidez, I'm not sure Benavidez is going to respond to well to getting picked apart. Yeah. Beterbiev responds quite well to getting picked apart, i.e. he doesn't really hunch over and back up or look a bit lost. He'll just keep trying to push the issue. Benavidez, when Yarde was slapping him a bit, he did look a bit like he's out. He didn't look really calm in there. When Yarde was punching in the middle of the ring, Benavidez wasn't looking to do much, to tell the truth. Now, when he had him on it's almost like Benavidez can only really likes to fight when he's got you on the ropes. He's not got a load of answers in the middle of the ring. And that's not where Bivol's going to be. But anyway, that's for another day. Let's move on. And before I do that, we'll check out the comment section. Oh yeah, there was a few points. There was a few points. This is what I'm saying. Just finally on the Yarde situation. There was a few points. Yarde had a bit of success and starts coming forward. I thought, obviously, you can't go hell for leather every round, but that's what you need to be doing. Box a bit of control in the centre, slapping around like you're touching, and then a bit of weighing him in. Yarde was doing a bit of touching, and a bit of getting weighed in on the ropes. You see what I mean? That element of Yarde's game, the pressing part, has not been built in. He's either faffing on the outside or he's getting weighed in and having to panic off the ropes. I don't understand that. It's not like, if he couldn't punch, it would make sense. If he really couldn't punch, if he was Paulie Malignaggi, then you'd say, well, don't ever press anyone ever. I've never seen a puncher be so trying to do everything else but bring his power into play. What big punches have you known be on the back foot like that? So maybe someone like a Tommy Hearns a bit, but he would mix and match though, right? He'd be skipping around, but other times, pop, he's putting a dinger on you. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's move on. I'll check the comments before I do, though. Let's have a quick check of this. Whoop-de-whoop. Big shout out to my doggy AC coming through with a 5 large. He said, big you up, YB. Your Aka came in for me, but you got in my ear about Benavidez out jabbing. I was fixing to make 60 large. Yeah, no, I didn't. What, Benavidez didn't out jab him? Oh, he did. Benavidez did out jab him. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, no, I got played, man. It's a big Kabbalistic scam. I got mugged off on the gambling. I lost about 20, 30 large last night. The Aka, I played myself as well. I'm not gonna lie, man. I had an Aka. I put 50 large on to win 35, a large profit. And all it was, so it was like a 70% return. All it was Bam Rodriguez, Abdullah Mason, and Benavidez. What happened was, yeah, I was doing an in-game tip, and then 2-2s. I thought Bam Rodriguez got knocked down in that round 2, and I thought, shit, and I shit myself. So I cancelled that, and I lost that one. Not lost it, but I thought, oh, quick, I've just seen Bam get knocked down, so I'm going to cash out now and take my £50, and I did that. And obviously, so I would have been breaking even this weekend, but I made some dumb plays, man. Look at this one here, look. I made some stupid plays. It must have been at the end of round 2. Michelle's in my ear. I thought I see something. I see something. I thought I was seeing something with Yarde. So I I got £2 at 24 to 1. So that would have given me 50 quid. Another £3 at 16 to 1 on Yarde. I put another, I don't know what this was. This was a scam, this one. Somehow I got a tenner at 3 to 1 on Benavidez on points. I think what happened was actually at the start of the fight, I must have done that. And I forgot to cancel it. So this is silly. This is bad operational management. Just messy, man. Another £1 here for Yarde at 40 to 1 on points. I got £3 at 80 to 1 for a draw on Yarde. I just started seeing big numbers and I thought, well, it's worth a punt. But it adds up. There's like 20 quid there I've piddled around and lost for nothing. I didn't need to. So yeah, it's one of them, man. It's one of them ones. It's one of them ones, man. I need to get my. It's so hard to read things in the moment, right? It's so hard to read shit. So in the in-game for me isn't foolproof, because if I'd have just not done the in-game, I'd have been better off this weekend. The in-game cost me cancelling the Aka, the £50 Aka, because I thought Bam Rodriguez was ready to go. Bam's special though. I'm not gonna lie, man. Bam is special. I never really watched him before. Last night, because I was up, I watched it. Bam Rodriguez is. I've never seen. He's like Usyk on steroids, man. I couldn't understand it. There's some corny commentators who were like, no, I don't want to see Bam go in there with a new wave. What are you on about? That's all we want to see. Bam is clowning people, durable people. He's making them look like idiots. It's got a bit. I've got Bam. Bam's special, man. I love his guard as well. I love Bam. Have you seen Bam's guard? Bam has the same guard as Crawford. He gets his gloves, yeah, and he pulls them down, and it makes his head such a small target. I love that guard. So I love Bam guard. Bottom line, I'm a guard homosexual. I love this one. Have you seen it? He sucks it in, and there's nothing there to hit. I love that one. Crawford does it as well. But Bam's special. Inoue, he's not as special as Bam. Bam really, and he's all over it. The thing about what I like about Bam is he's not like Usyk. Think about it. Stoppages at £114 are unheard of, like that, right? They're unheard of. Usyk couldn't stop no one at cruiserweight. Imagine Bam at cruiserweight with that extra, literally double the weight. A cruiserweight could reasonably be double the size of Bam Rodriguez. And Bam, yeah, he's chopping dudes up. Lomachenko didn't stop no one really either, right? These little dudes don't stop no one. They can't punch. Bam is chopping people half to death. The only issue is, I want to see him in there. It's got to be Inoue, and I've got him beating Inoue's ass, honestly. And Shakur Stevenson apparently said he used to spar with Bam, and he said Bam punches harder than the people in my division. Because that little dude, I don't know the guy from Adam, right? But that little dude that Bam was fighting, he wasn't no punk. He had a high guard. He likes to get busy with his hands, and he didn't want to punch no more. He broke him. It's very hard to break someone who's like that. From Argentina, the back arse of nowhere, got nothing but a bean to his name, right? To do that to that guy, he didn't want no more. He honestly, and Bam looked like he was inspired. Like there's levels to the game, right? There's been fights where Usyk has looked like he's in sparring mode. So for example, Usyk versus Gassiev, a sparring session. But even then, there's no spite there. There was no risk of Gassiev getting stopped. Bam. He's all over you, man. He's all over you, but nowhere at the same time. He's like a slick Mexican style, which is almost unheard of. Most Mexican style are like this. Hands on their head, Canelo, whoever you want. You know what I mean? Plodding. Bam, no, he's pressing you, but he's here, he's there, he's touching. He's got the pressure, but also the work rate. It's not just back foot stinker. Do you know what I'm saying? Usyk does a bit. I mean, he tries to press, but he can't punch. He can't punch like Bam. Pound for pound, he can't punch. He has life and death for AJ. AJ is no better than that guy that Bam was in the last night, honestly. If that makes sense. He's got better fundamentals than AJ. He had a bit of head movement in there. He's no better. Usyk had life and death with big stiff idiot AJ. He had life and death with him, man. Bam, but yeah, he that guy, and he'll weigh Inoue in my opinion. He'll weigh Inoue right in, I believe. Inoue's all right, but he's straight up and down Inoue, really. There's nothing, you don't see magic there. I see magic with Bam. It's a bit like Crawford at his best. In fact, I'd have to argue that Bam, it's a shame we don't have like the Errol Spencers or something, because they don't have the name value. But my point is though, Bam could reasonably go in there, yeah, and make a clown of Inoue, is what I'm saying. And that would be the equivalent of an Errol Spence, right? Or even more higher rated on the pound for pound. And that's what he has to do now. The rest of them idiots, I can't think of no one else. Yeah. And he seems quite lanky. Let's see what Bam Rodriguez's size is. Bam Rodriguez box rec. I want to see how big he is. I don't think Inoue is that tall. 5'4". Inoue box rec. Oh yeah, Inoue is only 5'5". Obviously he's thicker. Pause. But he's only an inch in height. And he's 32. If Bam can wait another year... I mean, what's the point having Turkey for, right? What's the point Turkey being around for super fights? Listen, let me tell you something now. If Crawford can move up how many pounds? Really, from 147. Crawford moved up 21 pounds. Which as a percentage is what? About 15%. A 15% move up for Bam Rodriguez is 115 to like 130. That's the facts, folks. Oops. Yeah, let's do it respectfully. Okay, 168 divided by 147. Yeah, 14.2%. So Terence Crawford increased his weight by 14.2%. If Bam's at 115, we increase that by 14%. That means Bam could go to 130. That'd be the same. Crawford going from 147 to 168 is the same as Bam going from 115 to 130. So don't tell me about how Bam can't go to 122 to fight Inoue. And that is proportionately the same. Does that make sense? It's not, oh, but the number's bigger. That is actually how it works. Bam, what Crawford did would be like Bam going to 130. I'm not even saying go to 130. Have a go on Inoue if you can. But why not? Why stop there though? He's a young guy as well. He might fill up. He's only 25. In the next 3 years, he'll no doubt keep going up. I don't see no reason. I guess he's short any. Let's see how big Nick Ball is though. I don't think Nick Ball's a 126? Oh my god. Nick Ball's 5'2". Obviously he's thick, any. Bam's 5'4", right? And 25. There's no reason Bam couldn't go up to 126, to be fair. Have a go on Inoue in the next 2 years. Assuming that happens. And the rest of them idiots at people, seriously. Bam. We've just seen what Bam does to the man who have their hands on him like that. Bam might stop Nick Ball, honestly. Honestly, he might stop him. He might stop Nick Ball, or he'll butcher him half to death. It'll look like Liam Smith and Aaron McKenna. That's how it will look. That's how it will look, man. And I prefer the hands on your head, but when I see someone who looks fundamentally sound, like last night, and when I see a boxer just touching them all over, that is what I call next level. Yeah? Hands on your head is better than most. When you see someone who's got pretty good work rate, pretty defensively sound, that guy had a bit of head movement as well. When you see him backing up to the ropes and the guys just all over him having a sparring session and pivoting in and pivoting out, that is what special is. That is real. Yeah, Bam. I wasn't on the bandwagon, but now I've seen it for myself. That it's special, man. Seriously. And Inoue is a bit leaky. He likes fighting bums as well. Bam will take him to school, man. He'll take Inoue to school. He'll take Nick Ball to school as well. Honestly, Nick Ball gets schooled. Ray Ford half schooled him. Ray Ford ain't no Bam Rodriguez, man. He's too big and strong. Bam's too. He didn't even look like he got out of gear 1. Yeah, he didn't look like he got out of gear 1. You see what I mean? He's just cruising, and he's able to up the pace almost toward us. His team said, "Yeah, it's about time we got this guy out of there now." He's like, "All right then, no worries." And then he goes and he peppered him. The guy was ready to go. He fought hard though. That guy fought hard. I got bumped in the end as well, because I ended up putting about a tenner on Ban Rodriguez and that guy to go the distance. And it was like 4 or 5 to 1. Almost, I was praying he wouldn't get caught, but Bam's smart. He lured him in. He said, "Oh yeah, have a go on me." And the guy starts getting reckless. Bam backs off and starts backing up, so the guy gets a hard on, and then Bam goes bosh and it's all over. I thought, fuck's sake, just get to the end, man. Fucking hell. Wasting my coins, my daily bread. So yeah, salute to Bam Rodriguez. My doggy Lawrence King said, "I think Benavidez didn't look good because he just didn't care and he knew." Yeah, I think you're right, bro. That's what I said earlier. I think you might be right there. But I'm glad you picked up on it. He didn't look good, did he? He didn't look good. I thought, ooh, he looks a bit. Something didn't look right. He didn't look as complete. He looked a bit. Something was missing there. But we'll only know when he fights. Yarde was never a certified operator. I'm not saying. I wouldn't mind. I'd prefer to get Beterbiev versus Benavidez is what we should get now. Again, since we have Turkey's thing. Since we've got Turkey. Here, Turkey. Since we've got Turkey, that's what we want to see. Benavidez and Bivol ain't going nowhere. I'm not fussed for that, really. I'd rather see... Beterbiev's 40 million years old, right? So I'd rather see him get in there with Benavidez ASAP. Because that would be a proper... That's a fight that needs to be made ASAP, right? But we'll know... Even someone like Callum Smith, who can fight a bit. Callum Smith couldn't deal with the power of Beterbiev. But Callum Smith didn't have no problems with Buatsi. Not that... I'm saying that Buatsi in that fight fought similar to Benavidez. Not as much speed, not as much gas, but you get the point I'm making. That might be an interesting test. Callum Smith versus Benavidez. But still, I'd rather see Beterbiev. That's what are we doing here. Callum Smith, does he deserve a shot? Not before Beterbiev, he don't. Beterbiev was just the champion. And no, Callum Smith can do something else. I don't know what he can do, but he don't need his title shot now, in my opinion. That can wait for Beterbiev and Benavidez. Anyway, let's move on now to... I'll check a few comments, actually. We're going to talk about... What's it called? What's the guy's name again? Oh, Devin Haney and Brian Norman, man. Big shout out to my dog, Get It Real, my Almeida Ahmad, Bruce Lee, bosh. Alright, let's move on now to Devin Haney. Fucking hell. I said before the fight that I respected Devin Haney for even taking this fight. He could have politicked his way, maybe for a Barrios or a Rolly. You know what Rolly's like. Rolly's like crayons and play shapes looking dude. Big bug-eyed, ain't he, Rolly? He could have politicked, or Lewis Crocker. You know what I mean? He could have done one of them ones. Instead, Devin Haney picked the perceived best man. And he probably still is the best man in the division. Brian Norman. And I said, Devin Haney must know something. Right? He must know something, because why would you do that for? You could just, a lot of people do it, they lose and they fight. But look at Tank. Tank just fights bums. Devin Haney could have done that. But that's what made me, I'm going to be honest, I was in the middle. I told you it's 50-50. I did a few ACCAs covering both outcomes. In fact, the only outcome I didn't cover, obviously, because you just break even or lose money, was Devin Haney to win by KO. So I'm glad it didn't happen. I can believe him, man. Every time I say someone, I said, listen, I bet on Brian Norman getting a KO, I bet on Brian Norman winning on points, and I bet on Devin Haney winning on points. The only one I didn't do is Devin Haney win by KO. Next thing I know, this big, stiff country bumpkin is on the mat in round 2. Yeah? But back to my original thought, I salute Devin Haney, honestly. Yeah? We all laughed at him for the Ryan Garcia fight. That Ramirez fight was the worst fight I've ever watched in my life. But to come back and do that, I salute him for that. He looked solid in there. I think his jab, I got bumped on his jab. I put £25 down at around 1-1 for Devin Haney to throw the most jabs. That didn't come in. I'm thinking, what's this? I think he should have been thumping his jab a lot more. I'm not sure why he wasn't, especially in the mid to late rounds. He started losing some rounds there. I don't know what that was about. He kind of just stepped off. I'd have thought he'd had that jab. He was notorious for having a jab, so I'm not sure why he stopped that, but that's something he needs to bring back, in my opinion. His jab's piston. It's hard to read. He was popping Brian Norman's head back. But what Devin Haney's done there, you have to salute it, man. I really do give him credit for that. It couldn't have been easy, right? You get knocked out by murked by Ryan Garcia. The biggest stinker of all time against Ramirez. And you go in there like it all never happened. So I do have to say, Devin Haney is a true champion, honestly, from what I saw in there. Because don't forget, a lot of you, man, yeah, I mean, I thought it was possible. Brian Norman's going to be all over his ass and left and right and bish bash bosh. We saw him school him. He put Brian Norman down, and Brian Norman didn't want to fight no more. So Devin Haney, Brian Norman, oh, I feel something. That's what Brian, big country looking ass bumpkin, was saying, man. He got punched. He's no good. And we did talk about this in the pre-fight. I said, the issue with country bumpkin is that he's only fought pure bums. He has. All bums. Yeah? All bums on his resume. Every single one is a bare bum in the shower. I don't even know why they bother doing them fights. Oh, he's a knockout merchant. What, against stiffs who stood right? Every single person Brian Norman's knocked out, they stood there like that, saying, hit me right here. They did, watch the fight. Like this, hit me. Yeah? He's never fought a proper boxer. In fact, the one boxer he did fight, I went back and watched it, he went 8 rounds and won on points. And the guy was nowhere near as athletic as Devin Haney. Nowhere near as athletic, man. But I think Devin Haney's performance also signifies, much like Chris Eubank Jr., how much weight is important. I think Devin Haney, and this was documented, I think Devin Haney was absolutely killing himself to get down to 135 and 140 and whatever else. I really do. Killing himself. Because even now, 147, people are still saying his face is sunken in. So how was he getting down to 135? Right? So I think Brian Norman felt something. I think Devin Haney was as weak as Eubank Jr. Does that make sense? In terms of why he couldn't punch at 135. Because what we know for a fact now is Country Bumpkin, old school Country Bumpkin, he didn't want the smoke. He didn't want to fight like that. He was cautious. So he must have felt something, which makes sense. Because guess what? Conor Benn didn't feel nothing from Eubank because he was absolutely weight drained. So I believe Turkey, man, you know Turkey's making this new boxing league. They need to change some of the rules. Get rid of the traditional weigh-ins. Weigh-ins should be, you weigh in, basically you move all the weight classes up to 2. If you normally fight at 135, you're now a 147 pounder. We're not doing no weight cutting no more. You can still do the weigh-ins, right? But there's no weight cutting. Because we actually lose performances. People get tired quicker. People can't punch. People aren't as quick. People are exhausted. It's also more dangerous. You've got no fluid in your brain or your body. How are you supposed to defend yourself or recover? I don't understand it. Who does weight cutting benefit? Apart from the people who think they're being smart trying to weight bully people. So it's bad for the sport all around. And it shows that. Right? It's not helping no one at all. I can't even... What's the justification? Oh, well, we've always done it. I really can't... I can't think of one argument. Can you, man, think of any arguments? Why should we continue weight cutting? To then put the weight back on or try to. Make it make sense. Right? So in the new league, it should be no weight cuts. How do you police it? Well, you would police it by, on fight week, you have 4 separate weigh-ins before the... So, for example, let's say you're a 175 fighter. On the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of fight week, you will also weigh in. And your weight cannot be more than your weight shouldn't really change more than a kilo. Either way, right? So you do a weigh-in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, and your weight has to be the same, right? Because no one's going to be able to maintain. Eubank wouldn't have been able to maintain a 160 weigh-in for 5 days. And you make that clear. If you're found to be cutting weight at all, you'll be fined. That's how you implement it. Guys, no longer are we weight cutting. Bottom line. If you're fined to weight cutting, you'll lose your license and you'll have a $100,000 or $1 million fine. It's banned now. It's outlawed. Not currently. They've got these weird things where they say, yeah, well, we'll still cut weight, but by the way, we're banning sauna suits. Well, what's the point in that? So someone has to go on a 10-mile run instead. Like, how's that helping anything? It's like it's all back to front. You say we're banning weight cutting. Full stop. Everyone. I mean, I'm just throwing things out there. That's what we need to do, man. Because I saw Haney look good. He got hit in round 1 or 2, and it looked like it might be on top for him. Brian Norman jumped him with a big jab, and Haney's head went back. And then I think shortly after that, Haney puts him down, and that was Brian Norman's arse. He couldn't believe it. He talked to him. Brian Norman, for me, he talked a little bit too greasy, man. He talked a little bit like he was a little bit too hard for himself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's a little bit too dangerous, man. Yeah, man, woo, woo, woo. I'm big country, y'all. Whoop-de-woo, y'all, woo, woo. No chops having ass cat, man. Devin Haney, drop your ass. It's funny as well. I almost bet on Brian Norman not to get knocked down. But luckily for us, the odds weren't all that. So it worked out all right, man. That could have been wicked for the masses. But yeah, salute to Devin Haney. Brian Norman, he's young. I think he's 24 or something. He needs to go and get some real mid-level work in. I'm sure there's loads of people at 147 that you can get mid-level work in. So you know what I mean? Some names. That was what was lacking for him. He's a bit of a chancer. So yeah, salute to Devin. I think Devin's on. And that'll be interesting. Devin Haney versus Conor Benn. I don't know what I'd have to probably go with Haney, you know. I really would. But that'll be a good fight. That'll be a good fight. Because I think Ben's a bit more tricky. And now he's fought a big old... Because there's parallels between Devin Haney and Eubank Jr. So I think now that Conor Benn's fought Eubank, a big old lanky... Yeah, Haney's much more better, but still... That should dial him in nicely for a Haney fight. But I don't think Ben's going to want Haney like that. Not now. I think it would make sense to go for Crocker. Ryan Garcia, and it would make sense to go for Crocker or Rolly. But if Ben jumps in there with Haney, salute to him. That would tell me he really, really with it. Because that's a hard fight for him to win. To be fair, we've just seen Brian Norman's the closest thing to Conor Benn in that division, and we just saw he got boxed right up, honestly. And think about how good Eubank did against Ben in the first fight. And Eubank ain't no Devin Haney. Not in a month for Sundays is he as good as Devin Haney. So there could be elements of that. It could look like Eubank Ben won. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm really happy for Devin. Even though we laugh and joke at him, I'm happy for him because it's not easy to do that, man. It's not easy to pull your finger out your ass. I thought he'd be finished after that Ramirez fight. Yeah, man, this guy's finished, man. He's proper finished. Finished, man. Finished. Not getting looking edgeways. He's finished. But he pulled it off. So salute to him, man. He really getting how he living. Devin Haney is, man. Got a lot of respect for him now. Dargy Lawrence King said, sometimes when Benavidez gets punched, he turns into one of those promotional tube men with all the air blowing through them. Yeah, I saw that, man. And Yarde wasn't punching hard. He was just touching him and then whacking to the body, and Benavidez would be like, he go like that. He go like, I've never seen Benavidez necessarily do that like that in response to the kind of fight it was. So I mean, there's a few questions there for me now. There is a few questions. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm intrigued. All right, before I get out of here, let's talk about the final fight: Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason. Who you can really say is fair play to both men. Dogged. I thought Abdullah Mason made it harder for himself. No doubt, it's more entertaining though. We can't take that away from no one. But Abdullah, I thought he'd be the outboxer. I thought he'd be touching and moving, jab. His team was saying get on the jab, but he just wanted to scrap, which I'm not sure. He's young. I think he's 20 years old, the youngest champion in boxing currently. But yeah, he was making it harder than it needed to be. But Sam Noakes is tough as nails. There was a few points it looked like he was about to go down, and he'd come firing back. It was a proper scrap. That card actually, in the main, people said Devin Haney and Norman was a stinker. I don't think it was a complete stinker. Stinko de Mayo was a stinker card. That whole card, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney on. That was the worst, and that whole weekend actually, Canelo and Skull. That was the worst card I've ever watched in my life. This one was good. Abdullah Mason and Noakes, Devin Haney, Brian Norman, Bam Rodriguez, the class he was showing, and then obviously Benavidez and Yarde, solid. But yeah, Abdullah Mason, I'm not even sure who's in that division. Let's have a quick look. What division is it? Oh, they won £30. £30 boxing champions. I have to give credit to Sam Noakes because I didn't think he was gonna. He looked really stiff when I was doing my analyses. Baby, please on him. He looked really stiff. I thought, nah, he ain't gonna do nothing. But he pulled off the stiffness. I thought he was quite slow in my pre-fight analysis. He wasn't that slow. I thought Abdullah Mason was gonna make him look really silly, like he'd be throwing a shot and he'd just be dipping and slapping. But no, he was in the fight. I thought, honestly, let me show you. I started putting bread on Sam Noakes. I put £2 on a draw at 25-1. I put £2 at 20-1 on Sam Noakes to win. Just to hedge if I lost that 50, because it's a Frank Warren fighter, innit? So I weren't sure if it was going to be a moody brick. I thought it was close. I thought a lot of the rounds were close, to be fair. I did. I thought a lot of them. Noakes was hitting him clean. And when he was hitting him, his head was a bit more leaky. Whereas Noakes had his head down, chin down, so the shots didn't look as... I didn't know what the judges were looking at, to tell the truth. So I was trying to cover some risk there. But ended up just bumping myself off, essentially. Alright. Oh no, it's not 130. What? I thought there was a vacant... I don't get... What? What weight were they then? Mason, box rack. Apparently it was a vacant title. And these men are 135. Wow, I didn't think they looked that big. Oh yeah. Wow. Abdullah Mason's not ready. He's not ready really. He's not seasoned enough. He's got a bit of dog in him. It's a shame. What happened to Keyshawn Davis? He lost his belt or something. Yeah, I don't know. Tank Davis ain't going to fight no one. You got Shakur there. Mason's not seasoned enough. He's got the dog though. Could be worse. He has got the dog. But he's 20, so they're probably going to go on a bum and a month tour now, which you can't really argue against. I wouldn't put Abdullah in a unification now. Although I don't know how good this Raymond Mutala is. Even then, though, I saw enough in that Sam Noakes fight. Sam Noakes for me is solid, warhorse type build. Nothing super special there, and it looked a bit too hard in there. But it's good. He's got the dog, Abdullah. He almost like he wanted to fight, and he arguably was. He was getting the better of the work at Sam Noakes' own game. I remember when he got put down by this corny cat with a Moody Barnett. He got back up and went straight back to work. So listen. We're always complaining, right? If someone's running around the ring stinking the place out like Shakur Stevenson, we complain. Oh, you box too much. if someone, Abdullah Mason, wants to get in there and fight, oh, you fighting too much. So I'd rather do it this way with Abdullah, to be fair, till the wheels fall off, right? If that's how he likes to fight, it's nice seeing someone actually like to have a fight. Abdullah Mason likes to fight. That's what that proves, because he's doing things that he shouldn't be doing just because he likes to fight. Now, how long that lasts until something goes wrong, because any one of them shots, there was a few times Noakes clips him, and as it happens, he was alright this time, but it's the fight game, right? That journeyman he fought, we put him down twice. All it takes in this game is a shot you see a little bit late or don't see at all, and bosh, you're knocked out there and then. So there does have to be a level of finesse. You can't just say, I'm going to outdog him. Well, maybe you can. I mean, let's see what happens. But over time, something almost look at Inoue, he's been put down before. But at some point, you'd think, bosh, it goes left. Particularly when you start fighting other champions. Anyway, I think I'll call it a wrap there, man. I'll do a video later in the week, I think, about where I guess Yarde loves to. I think Yarde's going to circle back for Buatsi, man. So I think Yarde's going to do. What are people spanning in my comment section, man? It's very annoying. Sorry, bro, you got to go. Doing too much spam. Way too much spam. User said, was Noakes constipated, or is that how he always moves? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In my pre-analysis, I thought, yeah, he looks a bit stiff, but he pulled it off well though. He didn't. I thought it was going to be a proper. I thought we were going to see like Bam Rodriguez's fight. That's how I thought Abdullah Mason was going to do him, because he's too stiff. But either way, it worked. Sam Noakes, none of them are going to fight anyone. Boxing is not fighting. Might be pawning the J chain on Monday for the betting losses. There was a 1 million bonus that fight if there was a stoppage. In what? What fight? Yarde can't punch, safe to say. He just KO'd an old Shot Kovalev. He didn't KO. He got KO'd by an old Shot Kovalev. Nah, Haney, you man are bugging. I didn't rock with Haney. You can't listen, man. Listen, man. You country bumpkin. Yeah, let me tell you something, William. Yeah, you're rocking with big stiff country bumpkin who got his ass handed to him. Yeah, that's what happened. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a hater. If I was a hater, yeah, I'd just be saying, no, Haney's still an idiot. He give you... Listen, I had bare man in my comments telling me, yeah, Brian Norman's too big, too strong. He's too big country. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. He did nothing. Yeah? Your man got belt to arse. Devin Haney put belt to arse on big country. That's what he did. And you sick. I can't lie to you about it. Alright then, folks. Brian Norman's chin comes down to this. Devin has power of like Daniel Dubois, or Brian Norman just has no legs. Yeah, I don't know, but apparently Brian Norman got put down in one of his other fights as well recently against a bum. Alright folks, I'm out of here. Appreciate everyone coming through. Smash the like button on your way out, and I'll catch you, man, on the flip. Johnny. Bosh.